What it is, my people, it's the Kid Sincere, your resident gold chain gamer, and boy, do I have a problem. I just can't stop. I know, man. I have a habit. I can't control it.
Just be calling me, man. Be calling me, man. I just gotta go to it.
It was irresistible. I had to cop it. The Astro C40, the new controller by Astro, pro controller, elite controller. Everyone knows that I am a sucker for an elite controller because I'm so in love with the Xbox One Elite that I want everyone to have that type of controller, and they don't. And it's been hard to replicate, it seems like, ever since the Xbox One Elite's release. The latest in that line is the controller by Astro. One thing you get straight out of the box, I'm talking about the minute you crack the seal, you open it up, it feels quality. The presentation, everything about it is quality. The Astro C40 is definitely somewhere close to being worth the price tag. To be honest, I don't think that any of these controllers are actually worth how much they cost. It all depends on how much use you get out of it. I would like to see these controllers fall around to the 150 range, about the range of the Xbox One Elite controller, but these are going for 200 bucks. So if you got 200 bucks to mash, I will say this right off the jump. This is a dope controller to have. Now, do I think everything is peachy? No. There's some things that I don't like about the Astro C40, and I'm gonna get into those later because I'm gonna compare it directly against PlayStation's other pro elite controller, the Scuf Vantage, which a lot of people are down on. A lot of people aren't pleased with the Scuf Vantage controller. I did a review on it. I compared it to the Xbox One Elite. I actually like this controller. For me, for what I use it for, it's good. It does have its downsides, but I like this controller. So I'm gonna compare the Scuf Vantage to the Astro C40. And I can tell you right off the bat, you know, this is like something else. The tech that's in this controller, I've never seen a controller that can switch the joystick with the D-pad. That is amazing. The minute I've seen that, I said, I have to touch this controller. I have to see what it's in for. You see my face, like I'm getting all excited because I've never seen anything like that, and it solves a problem that I always had with PlayStation because I think offset joysticks are better for first-person shooters. Now, if you're playing a game like God of War, Spider-Man, even Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, the parallel joysticks are fine. I am good with those. I actually like them parallel. But when you're playing a shooting game, having your thumb offset from your other thumb it just feels right. It feels good. So to have a controller where you can switch it on the, basically on the fly, it does take screws to take off a faceplate and switch the module. But for the most part, it's fairly easy, and you can do it between games. It's awesome. It comes with everything you need to do it. A small little screwdriver to take the faceplate off, and you can switch around each module. You got 3 of them to switch, 2 joysticks and 1 D-pad. And the only thing I have a fault with is that it has a slot in the case for an extra D-pad, but it doesn't come with a D-pad, which is weird to me. Like, every other controller that's an elite controller comes with an extra D-pad. This one didn't. Kinda strange, Astro. I don't know about that. And I do have some other issues that I'm gonna get into, but what I wanna do is, I wanna compare it to the Scuf Vantage, and I'm gonna break it down into 3 segments: build, design, functionality. So let's start off with the build, and I'm gonna just go right out there. The build on the Astro C40 is much better than the Scuf Vantage. Yes, it is. You talk about this glossy top because of the removable faceplate. That lends to slippery hands when you're trying to, get a headshot or kill. This is rubberized all the way across the controller. This is built like a brick house. This is awesome. Just holding, the minute you open your case and pull this controller out, you'll know what I'm saying. You feel the build quality. They really put a lot of effort into making this feel like it was something special, something luxury. It felt like when I first opened my Xbox One Elite case and saw that in there and then held it, that rubberized shell. So you know that you're gonna be doing some heavy, heavy gaming with this controller. So as far as build quality, I like the way the Astro C40 feels. It feels tight, concise, everything, nothing feels loose. Everything feels good. The joysticks, they're not too tight, but they're not too loose. Everything feels really, really, really good. Now, the only thing about the build that I don't like is I would like someone else to implement magnetic joysticks, please. Like, it has metal around it, but it's not magnetic. It's actually just a clip-in, and you literally gotta smash your joystick to get it back in. I don't know why they don't just go with magnetic, removable, swappable joysticks. Maybe that's a patent to Xbox. I don't have a clue, but I didn't like that with the Scuf Vantage, that I gotta take the faceplate off and pull the joystick out to switch it. That's just weird to me when Xbox has done it right for years. Don't get it, but that's a small gripe. So build, I definitely give that to the Astro C40. This is actually, it rivals that Xbox One Elite, because I want to say that it might be even, it's hard for me to say that it's better. I'm just gonna say it's on equal footing as far as build quality. I like the way both of these controllers are built. They're built like brick houses. I love it. Now let's get into design, because this is where I had some problems with the Astro C40. I didn't like the design layout as far as the width of the controller. This is a wide controller. Your hands don't feel, I've never held a controller this wide. This is wider than any controller that I have, whether it's the Switch Pro, the Xbox One Elite, the AIM controller, the Scuf controller. This controller is really wide, and I want to say that is because of the swappable modules. To make room to have a module that's swappable, you had to make the controller wider. I wish it was a little bit more slim. It would feel better in my hands. This is the most awkward playtime I've had with a controller. Getting used to this took a long time for me to just get in the groove of playing with it. And I'm really still not in the groove. As I was playing with this controller, I kind of wish that I had the size and form factor of the Xbox One or even the Scuf controller, which was strange because the Scuf looks like it's big, but it's really not. Everything feels, you know, I want to say right. It feels like it's in the right place ergonomically, to where this feels wrong. I can't explain it. It just doesn't feel right. And then you have the bumper buttons, L1 and R1, and they're really, really slim. Like, especially if you're playing a game like Sekiro, where these are your block and attack buttons, you don't want to make a mistake and hit L2. And I don't feel like they give you enough room to really hit these buttons. It's just not enough room. It's just too slim and slender of a button where, I don't know, man, when I look at the Scuf, I can easily hit these buttons. It's very easy. This one, it's a little bit more different. Now, the triggers feel good. They do have trigger stops, and that's cool, but these shoulder buttons really are killing me, and the size and width of this controller. So as far as design goes, I would have to give that to the Scuf Vantage, because this is designed more in line with the Xbox One Elite controller, which I like also, and it just feels better in my hands. It feels better in my hands. And also, another thing about the design of the Astro C40 is that it only has 2 back paddles. And they're not really paddles, they're more like clickable buttons. They don't feel bad, they're not hard to reach, but there's literally only 2 of them. I'm used to most of these controllers having 4. Scuf Vantage has 4, even though these ones in the middle are super hard to reach. The Xbox One Elite has 4, and also the AIM controller has 4. So I'm just like, I don't know why they didn't include 4 buttons, especially when you're playing a shooter, because you really don't want to take your thumb off of that joystick. You know what I'm saying? That right joystick, you want to keep your thumb on there because that's the joystick you aim with. So I don't know why they didn't include 4 back buttons, back paddles, or whatever you want to call them. That seems like an odd omission to the design, but design-wise, I'm going to go with the Scuf Vantage as far as design, because there's some design choices here that I just don't agree with. Now, one thing I do agree with as far as the design is the USB insert. It's really, really deep inside, pause, of the controller, to where you're never going to break your cord by yanking it out or anything in. Once you put this in there, it's in there for sure. Like, it's all the way inside of the controller. There's no way for you to yank out the cord. Scuf has a similar thing. It's not as cool as this one, but it's similar. But still, I'll give design to the Scuf Vantage. Now, functionality, and this is the main reason I wanted this controller, because of the swappable modules. This is something I've never seen before in a controller. This is new to me. It works like a charm. You do have to use an app on your computer if you want to switch buttons and map different buttons to other buttons, and even adjust the sensitivity in the triggers and the joysticks, which I begged for with the Scuf Vantage. If the Scuf Vantage had an app on it, it would probably be one of the better controllers. This, the Astro C40, has an app. The app did crash on me a couple times. I think that for functionality, it's a clear no-brainer that the Astro C40 is better than the Scuf Vantage, because it's adjustable. You can adjust everything from the triggers to the joysticks to the button mapping. And on top of that, you have the swappable modules. So you can play however you want. You can play offset, you can play parallel. You can play whatever way you want. So functionality has to go with the Astro C40. So 2-to-1, easy money, right? It's not that simple. If you're gonna spend $200, I probably recommend that you get the Astro C40. It's built well, it's a controller that seems like it will last. But for me, and I'm speaking for myself, I would probably much rather play with the Scuf Vantage controller, because for me it feels better in my hands. Now, for the person that's gonna say, well, Sin, what do you have, small hands? Listen, that's my hand, that's a person's face, that's them on the floor. My hands are fine. I think I have normal size hands. And for a person with normal size hands, this controller feels right. The Scuf Vantage feels right. The Astro feels a little too wide for me. I really had a hard time adjusting to that. Everything else is on the money. It functions as it should, even wirelessly, because it comes with a wireless dongle for you to hook it up to your PS4 or PC. You can even still use your chat, your headphones with it wireless, and that's something you can't do with the Scuf Vantage. But for the most part, this controller is really big. This is a big ass controller. This is the biggest controller I've ever held, I wanna say, outside of the Dreamcast controller. This is a big ass controller, but I do recommend it if you're gonna buy a $200 controller. You won't have the problems that Scuf is having with their controller, unless you can get a way to, play your Xbox Elite on your PlayStation, or visit AIM controllers and get one of these babies, but you don't get the offset sticks. So I would recommend the Astro C40. It's a little too wide for my hands, so I'll probably be playing with other controllers, but I do think this is a quality controller for what it's worth. $200 is just steep for anybody out there to buy a controller. I know this. I've reviewed numerous controllers on this channel. It's a steep price to pay. This is one of the first times I think that, man, they built this with the money you're spending in mind. Once you pull this out of the box, you're gonna say, man, this feels quality. And that's something that I couldn't necessarily say about the Scuf Vantage controller, because there were some things that I thought was flimsy about this controller that's very sturdy on this controller. So I would give the one up to the Astro C40. It's a little too wide for my hands. So for me, I'm gonna give it a little more, playtime, but I'll probably wind up playing with other controllers. This feels great though. Just, man, when you get one of these, you'll understand what I'm saying. You're like, man, that feels like boss. It feels boss. So the winner, Astro C40, they did a great job. It's an awesome controller. Are you picking up the Astro C40? Do you already have a Scuf Vantage and you're displeased with it? Whatever it may be, leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you think a friend would like this video, hit the share button. If you like all of this, subscribe to the channel for more content. Check me out on Twitter at sincere_GCG and on Instagram and Facebook at GoldChainGamers. In the meantime, between time, yes, Elite controllers are an expensive hobby. But I would like to say that if you're going to spend the money, I don't think you'll be displeased with the Astro C40 unless you don't like big ass controllers, because it's a big ass controller. Remember, it's more than a game, it's a lifestyle, y'all. I'm up out of here. Peace. Wait, you still here? Well, since you're here, subscribe to the channel or check out my last video. Either way, thanks for watching and cheers, I guess. Now, how do I take over the world? Step 1.